All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle chemical thermodynamics. And I know, it sounds super intimidating, but I promise you it's not. In fact, we're about to uncover this one simple, repeatable pattern that's kind of like a secret code for predicting the future of chemical reactions.
So let's just start with a really big question. Can you look at a list of chemicals and know, before you even do anything, what's about to happen? Is it going to get hot? Is it going to get more chaotic and messy? Or is it just going to sit there and do absolutely nothing? Well, the answer is a big yes. And thermodynamics is what gives us the tools to figure it all out. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the main idea behind making these predictions. Then we'll build up our toolkit with three really key concepts: enthalpy, which is all about heat; entropy, which is all about disorder; and then the final boss, Gibbs free energy. So stick with me, and by the end, you'll have everything you need to see the future, at least chemically speaking.
Okay, so at the very heart of all this is a pattern that's, shockingly simple and something we can use over and over again. It's the secret formula that's going to let us unlock everything, from heat to disorder, and even whether a reaction is going to happen at all.
First up in our toolkit, enthalpy. Really, at its core, enthalpy is just about heat. It's the fancy thermodynamic way of asking a super simple question. Is this thing going to get hot, or is it going to get cold?
So enthalpy itself, we call it H, is the total heat packed into a system. But what we really care about, the number that tells us the story, is the change in enthalpy, or delta H. If that delta H is negative, the reaction lets go of heat. Think of a cozy campfire. We call that exothermic. If it's positive, it actually sucks heat in and feels cold. That's endothermic.
And here it is. This is the fundamental pattern that's going to be our best friend through this whole explainer. To figure out the change in enthalpy, you just take the total enthalpy of all the products and subtract the total enthalpy of all the reactants. Products minus reactants. Go ahead, burn that phrase into your brain.
Okay, let's see this thing in action with the oxidation of sulfur dioxide. As you can see on the slide, our product, SO3, has an enthalpy of negative 395 kilojoules per mole, and our main reactant, SO2, is at negative 297. Oh, and by the way, that stoichiometric coefficient column, that's just a number from the balanced chemical equation telling us how many of each molecule we have. Here, it's pretty much 1 to 1. So we do our thing, products minus reactants. That's negative 395 minus negative 297, which gives us negative 98. Since that number is negative, we know for a fact this reaction is exothermic. It's going to release heat. It's as simple as that. And this has huge real-world uses, like when we compare different fuels. This chart shows us that burning 1 kilogram of coal releases about 32,800 kilojoules of energy. But if you burn 1 cubic meter of methane, you get 35,000 kilojoules. Knowing this is absolutely crucial for everything from building power plants to designing rocket engines. The more energy you get, the more power you generate, or the further you can go. So yeah, we can say methane combustion is just a little more exothermic.
So, we've got heat covered, but that's only part of the story, right? Our next tool, entropy, is all about measuring chaos. Disorder.
Entropy, or S, is pretty much just a measure of randomness. And here's the thing about nature. It tends to love disorder. Think about your bedroom. It's way easier for it to get messy than it is for you to keep it perfectly clean, right? Well, that's entropy. In chemistry, a positive change in entropy, a positive delta S, means things are getting more chaotic. A negative delta S means it's actually getting more orderly.
And now for the best part. How do we actually calculate this change in disorder? Well, you probably guessed it. It's the exact same pattern. The sum of the entropy of the products minus the sum of the entropy of the reactants. Products minus reactants. See, I told you it was easy.
Let's try this with methane combustion. So if you look at the table, we multiply each compound's entropy by its coefficient. See that 2 for oxygen and water? To get the totals. Our products, CO2 and water, add up to about 355. Our reactants, methane and oxygen, add up to about 597. So products minus reactants gives us a negative 241.4. That negative sign tells us this reaction actually becomes more orderly, which, is a little weird when you think about an explosion, right?
Okay, time for the final piece of our puzzle. We know about the heat, we know about the disorder, but the big question is, will the reaction actually happen on its own? For that, we need our final and most important tool, Gibbs free energy. This is the ultimate decider.
So Gibbs free energy, or G, is basically the amount of energy that's actually available to do something useful. But it's change, delta G, that tells us the most important thing of all. Is this reaction spontaneous? If delta G is negative, the reaction will just go, all by itself, no help needed. But if it's positive, you're going to have to keep putting in energy to make it happen.
By now, this should feel like an old friend. To calculate the change in Gibbs free energy, we use our trusted pattern one last time. The sum of the free energy of the products minus the sum of the free energy of the reactants. Products minus reactants. It is just that consistent.
All right, let's run our SO2 oxidation reaction through this final test. The product, SO3, is at negative 370.6 kilojoules per mole. The reactant, SO2, is at negative 300.6. We do the math, and it gives us a delta G of negative 70. Because that number is negative, we now have our ultimate answer. This reaction is spontaneous. It will happen on its own.
But hold on. We've got heat and we've got disorder. Is there some way to connect them all? A single master equation that brings everything we've learned together?
Oh, you bet there is. And this is one of the most powerful and beautiful equations in all of chemistry. Delta G equals delta H minus T times delta S. It just perfectly shows how spontaneity, our delta G, is this balancing act between the change in heat, delta H, and the change in disorder, delta S, with temperature, T, acting as the referee.
And we can prove that this connection actually works. Let's use the numbers from our SO2 reaction. As the table shows, our delta H was negative 98. Let's imagine this reaction happens at a warmer temperature, say 400 Kelvin. We plug those numbers into our master equation, and we get a delta G of negative 60. Now, you might notice that's different from the negative 70 we got before. That's because Gibbs free energy depends on temperature. But the important thing is it's still negative, which confirms our prediction. The reaction is spontaneous at this temperature too. See? It all connects.
So, let's wrap this all up. You now have a complete, ready-to-use thermodynamic toolkit to predict the future of any chemical reaction.
Here they are, your three essential tools. You've got delta H for heat, delta S for disorder, and delta G, the big decider, for spontaneity. And for all three of them, you have one simple key to unlock the answer: products minus reactants.
And that's really the big idea here. The world of chemical reactions can seem so complex and so unpredictable, but it often boils down to one elegant, repeatable pattern. A pattern that gives you the power to look at a list of ingredients and literally predict the future. So the only question left is, what chemical future are you going to predict next?